Shalom, everybody. I have had a really stressful week, but I am here. I'm going to do a really brief Hebrew reading for us today that's going to talk about our upcoming week. And I've got a limited amount of time today, so we're just going to blast right through it. I'm going to pull out, I think, 5 Hebrunes today and see what we get. The first one coming up today is, it's our blank Hebrune. We call that the Ein Sof. That's what's the central issue for today. Okay. What's come right before that is, I love this, is the letter Kaf. My hands are really covered in the dust of the clay as I reach in here. What's going to help us with the situation is Zayin. What's going to not help us with the situation is, looks like Nun. And that's going to bring us forward to Ayin. Interesting. Okay. So here's what I'm seeing. Ein Sof in the center talks about, I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. Ein Sof talks about that which is eternal, that without end. It is the oneness of all things and the nothingness of all things. Let's be in that space of just having connection with all things and trusting in the nothingness. It's funny, I'm wearing a t-shirt right now. It says Portland or nothing. Nothing is the answer. Again, the nothingness, but also the oneness, the wholeness of all things. And what's come right before that in the Kaf is we have this number that's like the palm of a hand is how it's supposed to be looking. A palm of a hand as if it were reaching out. But it has to do with potential and power. Koach represents power. It's also about receiving things. And it can also be about suppressing things. Anything you can do with your hand. You're receiving a thing, or you're suppressing a thing, or you're making some kind of power fist. It has to do with that. But it has to do with covering as well. So like, it can be the hand on top of your head, or the shach on top of a sukkah. And it has to do with the day Sunday, which is today, interestingly. Oh no, wait, no, not the day Sunday, about the sun itself. Oh, it rules over the planet, the sun. Sorry, my bad. It has to do with Tuesday, in time, but the sun in the universe, and it is the binary of both wealth and poverty, and that's what came right before this. Interesting. So something having to do with wealth or poverty, or that binary about the hand and how it is used for either power or suppression, but it's something that covers over and possibly either hides or protects something, like the wings of Shekhinah. So yeah, that's what's come right before us. It's either receiving something or giving something, or being protected or being suppressed. I'm not sure what that's up for, y'all. But what's going to help us get through this Ein Sof time, this unknown time, is the letter Zayin. And Zayin up here at the top is representative of either a sword, a scepter. It has to do with power as well. So we've got Chaf, which has to do with power, and Zayin having to do with power. It is the number 7, which has a lot of magical stuff to it. There are 7 days in the week. There are 7 months in all of the Hebrew holidays happen in the first 7 months, basically, of the year. It has to do with the 7 weeks of the Omer, and the 7 times 7 years for the Jubilee. So there's a lot of magic around the number 7. So that's going to help us if we focus on that power, that sovereignty that we have, that it comes down from above, that comes down from Havaya on high. And what's not going to help us here, we have the letter Nun. And Nun is about, I think about it as being about humility. It has to do with being subservient or humble. It talks about Moshe being one of the most humble of the servants of the divine. And it also has to do with power and strength, interestingly. It has to do with moving forward. So there's something about humility, and what's not going to help us in this situation is to be subservient, to be humble enough to the point where we're becoming small, but instead move back on up to power, own our power, like saying not to be aggressively, full of ourselves, but to not diminish ourselves down to where we are no one, but instead hold on to our power to get us through this, again, this time of the unknown. And what that will bring us to in the end is ayin. And ayin is literally about an eye. It's like this it has the two eyes and an optic nerve going back to the brain here. And it speaks not only about us being able to see clearly, but about the divine watching over us and protecting us through all of our difficult times, particularly in these times of the unknown, of this blank time. So if we are able to take what we have received, and as we move through this time of unknowingness, kind of this time between Tisha B'Av and this time of Rosh Hashanah coming up, right before Elul, before our preparatory phase, we just kind of have this blank time in the year where there are no holidays, there's nothing actually happening, it's hot heat of summer, and we should hold on to our power, let go of that feeling of not being enough, and that will move us into this idea of being able to see. And interestingly, although Zayin is 7, Ayin is 70, so it is like 7 times 10, so it's like the manifestation of that number 7, of the magic of creation. It's a completion. There are 70, lots of cycles of 70. There are 70 descendants of Noah. There are 70 souls that went down to Egypt. There are 70 elders in the desert. There are 70 seats in the Sanhedrin, and it has to do with the foundation of laughter. So ideally, if we can get through this time of the unknowing, hold on to our power, let go of this idea of not being enough, we will move into a time of being able to see more clearly and with laughter. Let's hope that's so. And we'll see you next time. Have a wonderful week. Shavuah Tov.